Pow! Welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. My name is, of course, Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. Today our Marvel Legends reviews continue with this Marvel's Avengers Infinity War 3-pack that eluded me for some time. It is, of course, Thor, Rocket Raccoon and Groot. The reason it eluded me is because it was, as you can see here, a Toys R Us exclusive originally, but we all know the story there. RIP Toys R Us. But it has managed to trickle its way out in a few places, and I managed to get mine over here in the UK from Kapow Toys. So now I have this threesome, this trio from the movie that created some very iconic scenes, especially when the three of them land on Wakanda. And now I can replicate that on my shelf. I obviously have the other versions of Thor I can do some comparisons with. I do believe this Rocket Raccoon is a straight up reissue, but this is the first time we're getting a teenage, adolescent Groot with his little game boy sort of thing there as well. I think it was Arcade Defender or something like that. But we shall find out when we open it up. And for some reason, Thor comes with Heimdall's sword again. This is probably the third time we've got this sword in Marvel Legends form, but no Heimdall figure. What is going on? I want an Idris Elba in 6-inch figure form, please, Hasbro. But anyway, I'm rambling. Let's look at the box. We get some side art from the film. My table's too small, so I can't show you. On the back, it's not a part of any particular wave or anything like that, but we do get some nice promo pictures. And then, of course, we get a little write-up that says, when a blaster-tooting raccoon, a teenage tree, and an Asgardian god get together, the journey is sure to be out of this world. And yeah, some more pictures on the side, nothing on the top. Let's get this box open. Pow, and here we have them out of the box, and first impressions are quite good. I do like this 3-pack. Obviously, if you've seen Infinity War, then it makes sense why these three would come together. New version of Thor, reissue of Rocket Raccoon, and then the first time we're getting Groot in this incarnation. So they come with some accessories, random ones if that. Obviously we get Heimdall's sword. I say obviously, it's not obvious. Thor doesn't use this sword. We don't have a Heimdall figure, so I don't understand why Hasbro keep giving it us. Probably just a cheap packing option for them to give us more accessories, but Hasbro, sort it out, get us a 6-inch figure of Heimdall in that Marvel Studios line. We get this gun, which is more accurate to the film that Rocket is seen using in Infinity War, so I'll have a closer look at that in a minute with Rocket. Rocket does also come with these two other little blasters, which again are reissues from that first Rocket that we got in the Mantis Build-A-Figure wave, and then Groot comes with his Arcade Defender thing, Game Boy sort of thing. So yeah, let's have a look at these one by one. So let me move these out of the way, and let's start off with the King of Asgard, Thor. So I thought I'd start off with a close-up just to show you this new head sculpt. Obviously he's got his eye patch in, and then one of his eyes, if you can see, it's whited out with a tiny bit of sort of electric effects coming over the side of the face there. So he's either got some 80s pop star makeup on, or it's meant to be a lightning effect. I'm assuming it's the latter. But yeah, it's the first time we're getting Thor with his eye patch on, which obviously is a Ragnarok spoiler, and then also something happens in Infinity War to sort of fix that issue, shall we say. Let's just say it has something to do with Rocket Raccoon's butt, but I'm sure you know. This chest, I would have preferred this, honestly, if it was just all black with the silver instead of them painting on the silver effects. I understand why they did it. He's obviously meant to be powering up, but yeah, I would have preferred it just to have all black, and then I could have got my own lightning effects. But still, I know what they're trying to do, and it looks fine. The paintwork is clean. They do look like little lightning effects coming out of his metal sort of buckles or whatever they are. But probably personally would have preferred it all black. But I do like the sort of sleeveless look with the all black. And again, the bottoms are all black. Nothing amazing there. But I do like it's a simple character design, but a nice one at that. There is no details on the back at all. There is some sculpted detail, but nothing in regards to paint. It's just all black. So yeah, there is Thor with his sort of sleeveless look that is sort of meant to be powering up with his one eye. So again, I'm assuming we can do some head swaps with this body. So let's compare him to some of our other Thors. So before I do bring in some other Thors, I thought I'd just say that I do really like this character design. I know it's a simple design, but it's just nice. Sleeveless arms, he's got no cape. Yeah, he looked really good. So I'm interested to see how he compares to some of the other figures. Now this design, for me personally, reminds me more of Ragnarok, or the end of Ragnarok, than it does Infinity War. So let's bring in one of the figures from Thor Ragnarok, of course. So this is the version, and that is obviously without the helmet, that come in that Valkyrie 2-pack. So I'm going to do some head swaps with these in a minute as well. And then I'll also bring in Thor from Infinity War. I'm just taking the effect off his Stormbreaker weapon. So there is your Thor. So these are your Ragnarok / Infinity War versions of Thor. Once he's visited Stan Lee the barber, of course, and he's got his shorter hair. So I'm interested to see what some head swaps do on these. You can see these two character designs are very similar, and the figures are very similar, especially from the feet to the sort of middle of the chest are the same. Obviously, main difference is you got the fish scale sort of armor on the arms, and then obviously his chest plate is all black, and this one's obviously the silver. But it's still very nice, very similar. You can see how they are from the same sort of film, shall we say. Just for fun, let's bring in previous Thor. If I move all these down a little bit, I bet they all won't fit on screen. But yeah, so there's the new Thor I've recently reviewed from the 10th anniversary line. Again, there are other Thors. I do have the Thor from that 4-pack, which is from Age of Ultron. There is a helmeted version of this guy. So there are other Thors, but you don't need to see them all. I don't need to do a Thor party. But I will do some head swaps on these just to see if we can create a good Thor. So as I said, let's do some head swaps. So I'm going to take the head of this guy. First time we're doing it, so it's a bit stiff. And then we're going to take the head from the Thor Ragnarok and see what it's like. So there is Thor Ragnarok. The skin tone's a little bit different. He looks a little bit more tanned on the face than he does to the rest of the body. Don't know how well that comes across on camera, but it looks okay. Just the skin tones don't match that well. So let's take that off. Now let's try the Thor from Infinity War. Let's try his head. This is once his eye's been replaced, of course. So he has the sort of different colour eyes and the scar above one eye. Now this head is definitely looser. I can tell that straight away from putting it on. But the skin tones do match a little bit better. So yeah, that Thor looks all right. If I zoom out a tiny bit more and show you. So that is the Thor Infinity War from the Cull Obsidian builder figure. What do you think? That looks all right. Again, probably would have preferred this all black because it doesn't make sense that he's powered up but his eyes ain't. So maybe we made the right choice with having the eye patch on this version. But again, I do like it. And you can always get this guy holding Stormbreaker if you wanted to. Even though I don't think he ever had Stormbreaker with the eye patch on, did he? No, he didn't. So let's get that out of the way. Let's keep it accurate, shall we? And for anyone wondering, yes, you can get Thor to hold that sword, of course. That's probably how it should be posed if you're using it in the Rainbow Bridge. But yeah, I don't think Thor in the film has actually ever used a sword. But either way, Hasbro packed it in for us. And it doesn't look too bad. So moving on to Rocket. So let's zoom in and get a closer look at this guy. This is easily the best Rocket figure we've had. It's exactly the same as the one from the Mantis Builder figure wave. So if you've got that one, you've basically already got this figure. I think this one's just a tiny bit difference in the blue paint. But let's be honest, for such a small figure, it's got elbows, single jointed elbows, single jointed knees, movement at the hips, movement at the shoulders, some sort of waist articulation, the head swivels, the tail's got a hinge. So let's be honest, for a tiny figure, Hasbro did a decent job. Definitely a much more improved version than the first Rocket Raccoon we got in 2014 that I've sold already, because let's be honest, this is the far superior Marvel Legends for Rocket. So again, these guns we've already seen. These come again with the previous version, and he has tiny little trigger fingers, so he will hold both of these guns. Again, it's quite fiddly as he is tiny, so be careful. But yeah, he holds them both with the fingers actually in the triggers of the gun, which is a nice touch considering how small the guy is. So again, apologise if that don't focus very well, but he can hold both guns without a problem. Again, use his tail to help him stand, because he is quite small and his feet are tiny. So if you use his tail to help him stand, you won't have any issues. The main gun that comes with this guy is this big one, and this is much more accurate to what he uses in Infinity War. And again, his tiny hands do hold it, but it's very heavy. So I don't know how well, because he's only got single jointed elbows as well, how well we're going to get him to hold this. Literally doing it for the first time on camera, so I apologise if it's very fiddly. But is that the best we can do, maybe? Get him to hold it there as well. Okay, so maybe that might be the best I can do. It's quite top heavy as well, so it's awkward to get him to stand. But that's sort of how he holds it. That gun is just too big for a rocket, let's be honest. But that's what he uses in the film, so it's quite film accurate. So yeah, at least he will hold it. You can sort of see his trigger finger there. I'm assuming you will be able to get him to hold him better than me. I just don't want to bore you on camera. But yeah, so that is Rocket. So just for a very, very quick comparison, let's bring in the version from the Mantis Build-A-Figure wave. And you can see the only difference is the paint. There is a tiny bit of difference. Let me just move those guns. These guns, by the way, that come with the Mantis Build-A-Figure have more detail on than these ones. If I move these out of the way, you can see for yourself, the Mantis Build-A-Figure guns have a bit of some sort of paint detail, a bit more gunmetal, a bit of black in there. These ones are just a basic grey. So yeah, previous guns are better. But yeah, in regards to these two figures, I don't know why his legs are mangled. It's the same figure, just different paint. This one's got a bit darker in tone, but this one, the Mantis Build-A-Figure wave, did come with a different Raccoon head. So even though the paint's not perfect, you can, if you've got both, still use this head for the newer version. Even though the skin tone, I say skin tone, I mean the fur tone is a tiny bit different. But again, it's nothing major, is it? So if you wanted him to hold it, his gun, his new gun, while he's screaming, then you can do that. But yeah, this guy is tiny and it's very fiddly to do a review. But yeah, mix and match, but let's be honest, same figure. And here we have Teenage Groot, or Adolescent Groot, as James Gunn said. It is not the same Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. It is regrown from that Groot. It is a new version of Groot, Groot's son, if you will. That's what James Gunn said anyway. And of course, we've seen this guy teased at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in a post-credit scene. And now he is in Infinity War. And this figure is looking very nice as well, to be fair. I know a lot of people have been using that basic Hasbro figure as a placeholder in their collection, but this one is better painted, better articulated, and will definitely fit in much more with your Avengers and Marvel Legends. So I'm just going to zoom in and show you some of the detail. There isn't much, but there is some. So I do like the head sculpt with his little gold eyes and his little blank teenage expression. He's got a bit of hair growing, weeds growing out of his head. Bit of green paint on him, nothing major. No paint work on the back, which is usually the case with Marvel Legends. They try and save their money, don't they, that way. But there is some sculpting detail at the back. Bit of green on the legs, but not much paint work other than that. It's just a brown tree. Single jointed elbows, articulation at the shoulders, at the hips, single jointed knees. There is some sort of ankle pivot in, even though he's a massive tree. And then, of course, at the waist as well, head. So yeah, considering it's a small figure, is some decent articulation there, so you're going to be able to get him in some poses on your shelf with your Guardians. So let's compare him to all the previous versions of Groot, shall we? Pow! Here's my Groot family tree. See what I did there? Here's a tree. Never mind. Hold your applause. Let's have a look at these guys. These obviously have come from some random places. These first two have come from the re-release of the Build-A-Figure. That was a Toys R Us exclusive, the Pant Pot Groot that we've seen at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, and then of course little baby Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Ravager Groot come with that Rocket Raccoon from the Mantis Build-A-Figure wave, so obviously from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Then we got today's review of Teenage Groot, Adolescent Groot from Infinity War. That first Groot is the Build-A-Figure Groot from way back in 2004. You can tell because it's not as well painted, and he's very grumpy and sad. Sad times Groot. And this Happy Groot is from the reissue of the Toys R Us exclusive Build-A-Figure. So this guy is that guy repainted with a new head, and he's very happy about it. This Groot is very happy, even though Toys R Us basically has went bankrupt and there's no more Toys R Us's. Now he's sad. But yes, they're all your Groots. So, oh, Ravager Groot fell down. He's the only Groot wearing clothes. The rest are nudists. But yes, they're all your Groots in Marvel Legends form. I never thought I'd have this many figures of Groot, but I do, and I'm very happy about it, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, looking good. I'm curious to see how Groot is going to be looking in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, if it ever happens. Sad times, very sad about James Gunn. Rehire him. I forgot to show Groot's little toy thing. Now, obviously this is the space version of a Game Boy or whatever. I think in the film it was called an arcade defender, and that's some sort of Easter egg to some 80s reference, I'm sure. But this is just a very soft plastic that can bend, and it's quite see-through as well. And it's just with blue with some purple dots on it, to be honest. You can't tell it's a game. But he can hold it if you pose him correctly. So as I said, he's got single jointed elbows. He's sort of no articulation in the hands or fingers as such, but he has got two open hands that he can hold. So there you go. You can have Groot in the back of your display, ignoring everyone else, playing his game. But because he's only got single jointed elbows, can't really get him any closer to his head. But at least he can hold it. Okay, it's not perfect, but let's be honest, I've been wanting to recreate this scene ever since I've seen Infinity War in IMAX. I love this scene, and now I can replicate it on my collection. I just need to build a very decent sort of Wakanda style diorama to have these three posed on. But yeah, very happy to have these. Obviously that's not the Thor that we're reviewing today. That's the Thor from the Cull Obsidian wave, but this is the most accurate versions of these three figures I can get from that iconic scene. So that's even the weapon that he was holding, and he's got Stormbreaker, and he's got both his eyes, and yeah, very happy I can do this. Now someone build me a diorama that looks like Wakanda. Thank you very much. So let's get into final thoughts. I could have spent all day comparing these to other figures on my shelf, but I'm sort of reorganising my collection so I can do a collection video for the channel that a lot of people have been asking for. So I don't really want to be moving and knocking over too many figures on the shelf. So for now, that is fine. These figures are fine. Very happy to get a teenage Groot. I do like this character design for Thor. And Rocket, I sort of already had you, but I forgive you, as I would have brought these two if they were a 2-pack anyway, and I could resell this and make my money back. So it all works out fine, to be fair. So yeah, very happy with this 3-pack. You let me know in the comments below, what do you think? I think I only need one more Infinity War 2-pack, and that is the Falcon and Winter Soldier 2-pack. Once I've got them, I will do a whole video where I'm showing off all of the Infinity War figures and do an overview and final thoughts on all of the Infinity War figures, as next year I'm sure it's going to start all over again with Avengers 4, whatever that is going to be called. What do you think it's going to be called? I have no idea. But yes, please check out that videos tab, and of course hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all that good stuff. Lots of reviews to come, including an updated collection video that I know some people are curious to see. So until then, people, I shall see you on the next one.